The Blackhawks started their coast-to-coast road trip 10 days ago in Detroit. The Red Wings got the trip off on a sour note. They beat the Hawks 4-1. The next stop was Buffalo, where Tom Draper and the Sabres shut down the Chicago attack and won the game with a 2-0 whitewash. Edmonton, Alberta was game number 3 on the trip. The Oilers broke out of a long scoring drought and down Chicago 6-2. The road gets no easier tonight as the Blackhawks travel as far west as you can get without getting wet. We're in the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. The Blackhawks meet the Smythe Division leading Vancouver Canucks. Hello again, everybody. Pat Foley and Dale Talon as the Blackhawks try to salvage something on the tail end of this road trip.
Ed Balfour gets a start once again. Was yanked after 2 goals in the loss to Edmonton. Is looking for his first win of the year on the road. 4 wins, 4 losses, and a tie, and a 2.13 goals against average. Kirk McLean leading the league in wins with 15, 5 losses and 3 ties, and a 2.35 goals against average and 2 shutouts.
Referee in this game tonight will be Rob Schick, the linesman Shane Heyer, and Brad Lazarowicz. Brent Sutter opens up with Dirk Graham and Mike Peluso for the Hawks. Chelios and Smith on defense. Cliff Ronning, who, as Dale said, has been a little bit under the weather, did not skate in the morning skate today, but he's available and ready to start the game. It's Momesso on the left and Sandlak on the right, and here's the draw. A shot into the Canuck zone. Doug Lidster cleared it to Cliff Ronning. He looks to get it out and failed to do it. Now here's a long shot from Smith, and he shot it wide. On the near side, Sutter put it in behind the net. And now a man goes down as there's going to be a penalty coming up. A big collision in the corner, followed by Graham getting yanked behind the net. Momesso has something to say to him, trying to goad the Hawk player into a penalty, it would appear, and Peluso lurking in the neighborhood, but everybody pulling apart.
Well, we expected the Blackhawks to come out and be aggressive. Forechecking is their best suit, and in his attempt to get to forechecking position, he was yanked down. Dirk Graham was, and the Blackhawks will go to the power play quickly. Looks like Randy Gregg, who came out of retirement to come with the Vancouver Canucks. He was picked up on waivers by the Canucks last year, refused to report.
2 minutes more.
Good doctor who played his hockey with the Canadian Olympic team and University of Alberta. Successful with the Edmonton Oilers, winning a lot of Stanley Cups. Pat Quinn picked him up on the waivers in the waiver draft, and then Gregg refused to come and finally decided it would be beneficial to come to Vancouver this year.
It's Roenick, Larmer, and Sutter on the Hawk power play. Smith and Keith Brown are on the points. Brown available again after missing a game with a reoccurrence of a groin problem. And he's done well on the point position on the Hawk power play this season. Now here's Smith on the near side. Trying to center one, bouncing into the slot. Here's a chance, and it's shot wide. Larmer had a bouncing puck and whacked it wide of the net. Now Linden for Vancouver takes a look, and his clearing effort hit a man. Coming to Lume, and he's able to trickle it back into the center ice area. Keith Brown rolls it back into the Canuck zone. Lume sends it off the boards, not out. Brown did well to keep it in, feeding Smith on the near point. Back to Brown in the deep slot. He got it to Larmer, a one-timer trickling in front. A shot, they score! Brent, no goal! No goal, says Rob Schick. A Hawk player was in the goal crease. Roenick was in the crease, and Brent Sutter's apparent goal will be disallowed.
Well, I hate this rule. They've got to really look at this rule and adjust this rule. This is a poor rule. Roenick had no influence on the play whatsoever. He might have had his toe in the goal crease. Sutter made a great shot. Brown over to Larmer. Larmer with the one-timer from the hash marks on the far side. Slowed up by a stick to McLean. He swats it to Sutter. Sutter with the backhander. And Roenick is in the crease on his own, but nothing to do with the play whatsoever. He was not near the goaltender and had no influence on the goal. They've got to really look at this rule. This is a real poor rule that they've instigated to protect the goaltender.
The intent, of course, is
to protect the goaltenders.
The intent is proper, but we've seen all sorts of situations this year, both for and against the Chicago team, in which players have had a foot in the goal crease or something and have no influence on the play. I think that's the rule that's going to be changed, but for the moment it has not been, and this will not be a goal.
Well, it's the 4th time this year the Blackhawks have had a goal not allowed, and 4 times Jeremy Roenick has been involved in this situation. He had a goal stolen away from him in Buffalo. He did a brilliant 360 maneuver in a game in Chicago that was disallowed because Mike Hudson had his toe in the crease. In Pittsburgh, they disallowed a goal that was definitely a goal, that he centered the pass from the corner. And now tonight he gets ruled for, now it's a penalty besides. and it nullifies the power play. And a great shot from Brent Sutter to give the Blackhawks what appeared to be the first goal of the night.
But it's still a scoreless game, and of course that minor penalty is attached to the washout of the goal, so it's 4 skaters aside. And here's the draw, taken by Igor Larionov, the ex-Soviet star, circling at center. Now Babbage, Dave Babbage over the Hawk line on the near side. Babbage against Conroy, moves behind the net, centered it. Brown blocked the pass. It lays there, and Belfour will smother it and take a whistle.
Well, Eddie Belfour looking for his first win on the road. I don't think the fact that he hasn't won on the road is a reflection on his play, though. It seems every game he plays, they don't score goals for him. The Blackhawks with only 3 goals in their last 3 road games. I believe 5 in their last 4.
Only 31 goals on the road in 11 games so far this year for the Hawks, and so it's not surprising that they have only 2 wins in those 11 games. And the Hawks are winless in the last 6 on the road, with 5 losses and a tie. Now the draw, Conroy going up the middle. Tonelli able to field it at center and dump it in. Dave Babbage now wheels the Canucks back, clearing to center. Adams left it for Babbage with room on the near side. He tries the center. Conroy blocked the pass nicely. Then Babbage a shot. Hit the side of the net. Now in the near corner, Larionov came up with it, circles behind. Igor Larionov over to the far board. Tied up there by Conroy. And Larmer takes it away, sending it to the near side, and Tonelli. John Tonelli trying to clear it, failed to do it. Didick held it in, shoots, and a save by Belfour. He pushed it to Tonelli, shaken up. Tonelli slow to get up, has lost his stick, seemed to be dazed, and the play continues. Belfour has to clear it himself out to center ice.
Well, he was hooked from behind. It was a high hook that got him on the bridge of the nose, and Schick didn't put his arm up, and Tonelli's upset about it.
The Canuck penalty is over. A short power play here for Vancouver, but here's Larmer. He has a man breaking to Sutter over the line, shooting, and a save by McLean. Larmer has the rebound, but was wrapped up on the boards. Now the Hawks able to play a little keep away as Larmer took a hit to get it to a teammate, and the Hawks clear it back the other way. Lume, who's missed the last 3 games for the Canucks with a scratch near his eye, the result of a Messier high stick. Now it's cleared into the Chicago zone. Into the corner it goes. Smith came up with it. The Hawk penalty is over now. Both teams at full strength. Here's Lume near board to Ryan Walter trying to center, and it deflects to Brent Sutter. Sutter dumping it in. Graham racing after it, hog-tied, unable to field it, and the Canucks try to start back. Doug Lidster clearing it into the Blackhawks zone. Barknall on the far side, lost the handle to Chelios. He bounced it ahead to Goulet. He's got a man breaking, sends it over the line. Here's a chance for Noonan. He cuts right in there to Goulet. And a save by McLean. How did he stop that? Great setup by Noonan to Goulet, and he couldn't finish it. Now Noonan another chance. And he shot the backhander wide. A glorious save by Kirk McLean on what looked like a sure Hawk goal. Now here's Roenick moving in front, trying to center it. Goulet, the shot. McLean stopped that, and the rebound to the Canucks. Didick able to bounce it back into the neutral zone. And now this will be an icing call against Vancouver. Kirk McLean sparkles in the Canuck goal to keep this game a scoreless duel with 4 minutes gone.
And he really had tough luck there.
Now here's a draw to Cliff Running. He cleared it to center, and Dana Merzen sending Sandlak over the line. Jim Sandlak rolled it back to the Chicago net. There's going to be a penalty coming up. Cliff Running attempting to forecheck, was yanked down, and Vancouver will go to the power play. Still early in the game and still scoreless in Vancouver.
His attempt to slow him up. Ronning had a chance to get to Belfour. Puliso just took the feet from under him, and the Canucks go back to the power play. Mike Keenan's upset. First of all, the goal disallowed. That upset him. And secondly, when Tonelli was yanked down in his own zone with a stick around the neck or the throat, Tonelli went down, was hooked from behind, and resulted in a scoring chance for the Vancouver Canucks.
Face off to the right of Belfour. Ronning. It's ready against Sutter, and Sutter got the draw to the corner. Smith Rolled it loose on the near side. Steve Larmer turns and clears it down the length of the ice.
Canucks special teams are pretty good this year. The power play, they're 8th overall, and they're penalty killing, their 10th overall.
Sandlak chases it into the Hog zone, rubbed off by Smith. It's cleared around the boards, not out. Lume kept it in. Got it to the corner, Ronning. Cliff Ronning along the boards, had it knocked away to Larmer. Steve Larmer works 2-on-2 to center. Meanders over the line. Now trying to shoot one from a tough angle and shot it wide.
Well, it's a poor choice of shots there because he shoots it wide and he gets caught. And the Vancouver counters.
Long shot from Courtnall, deflected up high. Now Conroy chipped it into the far corner. Courtnall leaves it there from Amesso. In behind the net it goes. Ronning took it away, centered Sandlak, and he shot it wide. Great chance for Sandlak, but the big winger missed the net. Former first pick of the Canucks a couple of years ago has struggled to score in his NHL career. And the Hawks able to clear it. 45 seconds for the Chicago penalty. Jeff Courtnall has been a prolific scorer his whole career. Nearly coughed one up, but had Lume there to help out. Jirke Lume to center ice. To Courtnall, who bangs it in. Conroy hammers it around the boards and down. One more rush on this Canuck power play. Veteran Dave Babbich's pass deflecting into the Hog zone. Smith has to hurry against Linden. Steve Smith sends it to the far side. It's held in by Babbich. Cleared it in behind the goal. Now Linden left it there. Larionov taking a look. Larionov trying to center, picked off by Brown. The Hawk penalty is over. Both teams at full strength as Gilbert sends Graham over the Canuck line. Dirk Graham peeling off and flipped it toward the far corner where Gilbert centered one. Roenick had to turn to get it. Now Roenick to the late man. Noonan shooting, hit the goal post. Brian Noonan hit the post for at least the 7th time this year. Noonan tied up behind the net. There's going to be a penalty. Now the Hawks dig it out. Roenick on the near board. Flipped it back into the Chicago zone. And did the whistle sound? Yes, it did. Ed Belfour was coming to the bench on a change and touched the puck as Goulet was coming for the extra attack. Blackhawks to the power play. No score.
Well, when you're struggling offensively, these types of things happen. Roenick, nice touch pass. Noonan cranked it up on the off wing, beat McLean cleanly inside of the near post and came out the other side. He's hit the post at least 7 times this year from point blank range. The Blackhawks have hit 2 goal posts and had a goal disallowed here in the early part of this first period.
Ryan Noonan has 2 goals this year, and but for 6 or 7 inches could have 9. There's a play in the Canuck zone. The Hawks on the power play. Here's a centering pass. Noonan trying to kick it to the stick, couldn't finish it. And now Smith able to keep it in. Put it in behind the net. Roenick had it taken away by McLean. Bounced it to the far side, and Gary Valk cleared it down all the way. Steve Smith as the Canucks pull back to center. Smith dumping it in. Going back for Vancouver, Grandy Gregg cleared it, not out, held in by Chelios. The long shot didn't get through, and then it's knocked back to center ice. Now Smith cleared it over the line, and Larmer just offside on the play.
Steve Larmer got cut with a skate, I believe. He was yanked down at the line, slid towards the offensive zone, and as one of the defensemen turned to skate to go to the corner to get the puck, his skate clipped him in the face. So he's lucky he's not cut. 746 straight games for Steve Larmer.
A minute remains on this Chicago power play. 12 minutes for a scoreless first period. Face-off outside the Vancouver zone. The Canucks have played 15 home games. They've only lost 3. 10-3-2, including only 1 loss in the last 7 here in their own rink. It's cleared back of the Canuck goal. McLean looking to send it out himself. The Sutter held it into Hudson. Centering Goulet. Had it taken away by Lume with a nice play defensively. And the Canucks unable to clear it. Sutter sends it to the near corner. Goulet. His pass picked off. Now Chelios got beat. Here's Adams over the line. Adams has a man coming, centered it. And Ryan Walter had the pass bounced behind him. And the Canucks miss a shorthanded opportunity. Now one more power play rush for the Hawks. Ryan Marchment steps over the Canuck line. Trying to pass it to himself. He did. Marchment behind the Vancouver net. Got help there from Sutter. Rolled it loose behind the goal. Goulet crashing in on Merzen. Trying to poke it out of there, and Merzen's knocked down on top of the puck. And the whistle sounds.
Dana Merzen with the +7, the former Whaler and Calgary Flame. Another guy that Quinn added for some size. Pat Quinn, former teammate of mine here in the early years with Vancouver.
Not too many to ride shotgun with, is there?
Well, this guy is a great man, I'll tell you that. And it's a privilege to be with him on St. Patrick's Day.
How can you remember? He is quite a fine gentleman. He is a nice guy to be around, and rightfully getting a lot of kudos for the job he's done here and building up this Vancouver team. Mike Keenan was pointing out before the game, you know, this Canuck team took a lot of chances with European and especially Soviet players. Some of those gambles did not pay off, and such is the case of Krutov, who ate himself out of the league. But Bure, who we have not seen yet, but we will, one of the great electrifying young stars in the game. Pavel Bure. Here's a draw in the Canuck zone. The Vancouver penalty's over, and both teams are back at full strength. Momesso, a crunching check on Graham in the corner, but the play continues as Roenick got help from Graham over the line to Gilbert, just offside on the play.
Well, Dirk Graham was hit hard in the corner to the right of Belfour by Momesso from behind. Momesso started his career with Montreal. A good clean hit on Dirk Graham. Got him shoulder, and Graham took the hit to make the play, and that's all you ask of your players.
One of the very pleasant surprises for this Canuck team has been the play of Sergio Momesso. He scored 4 goals in his first 4 games this year, and he is really doing well offensively. He's tied for second on the team with 10 goals. Never really been a big scorer in his previous years of the NHL, but he's really seemed to have found a home here in the Pacific Northwest, or Southwest as far as Canada is concerned.
That's which way you're looking at it, right?
Marchment flipped one on the back of the Canuck net. It lays there and the whistle sounds, and Lemieux and Lidster have a stare down.
The Blackhawks looking to get some offense from different people in their lineup, something that hasn't been the case. Lemieux's got 1 goal. He's out there with Hudson and Peluso. Randy Lacey and Mike Gapsky sporting the new look behind the bench with their new windbreakers. Randy Lacey's is a windbreaker. The typhoon breaker.
Good thing it'd stop a hurricane. Those two are just slaves to fashion. Here's the draw, and here comes Bure, number 10, the exciting Soviet. Bure flipped it over the line, now gets it back. He's wrapped up along the boards. They scrum on the far side. Bure came up with it. Got knocked down but centered. Here's a shot. Big save by Belfour. Great opportunity for Adams, but Belfour beat him on the doorstep. Now Busquets in his own end. Took a hit from Bure. That brings the crowd to its feet. But the Hawks able to clear it to center. Now here's Hudson over the line. Hudson had it taken away by Larionov. Then he gave it away to Peluso trying to center. Picked off by Didick to Bure. Pavel Bure tees a long one from center, and Belfour gloves that with no difficulty. And now Peluso. His pass stolen at center, and Merzen shot it in. And Bure gets a hand as he comes to the bench. Boy, they've really taken to this kid in Vancouver. Pavel Bure. The first game he played here, he turned down this crowd with 3 breakaways he had. And they were not cherry-picking breakaways. He just stick-handled through players to have breakaway chances, but he never did score on any of the 3 breakaways. Here's Goulet over the line, lets it go, and it's deflected over the glass. and into the crowd. We have 9 minutes left in the first. No score.
To get back into this game by taking the body. There's been good hitting at both ends of the ice. The Blackhawks and the Vancouver Canucks, you would expect, would be more fired up to play. The first real good scoring chance of the night for Vancouver. Adams on the backhand hit Belfour in the helmet. Bure returns the favor on Busquets after Busquets hammered him along the sideboards. You don't see many European players come right back at you, but Bure appears to be a spunky player.
Now the draw taken by Noonan in the near corner. That knocked off his stick. Then he got it back. Shoots one. McLean the save. Rebound lays there, and McLean gets help to cover it up. And Tonelli had a whack at that rebound, it appeared, but trickled it right underneath the goaltender.
He didn't get much on his second attempt. His stick was tied up a bit, but he did slide it under McLean, and those sometimes have a tendency to sneak under a goaltender when things are going your way and you're scoring a lot of goals. Tonelli just out-muscled the defenseman to get any kind of a shot at McLean, but after Noonan just drifted one towards McLean, and McLean left the rebound out in front of him. Only Tim Cheveldae has played more games than Kirk McLean, and Kirk McLean has been given a rest the last few games.
Troy Gamble played last couple of outings. But how about the start for Kirk McLean this year? He had a 9-game unbeaten streak to begin the season. 8 wins and a tie. Here's Linden on right wing over the line. Shoots, and a save by Belfour, and he grabs onto it.
Well, we were really impressed last year in the skills competition at the All-Star break with Trevor Linden. We couldn't believe how quick he was in the sprints. Big rangy winger. He plays center or wing. And last year he got himself in a bit of a problem trying to do too much. Pat Quinn had to almost sit him down a few games just to get him back into a team concept so he could dish off and move to the holes. And appears to be doing that a lot better, but obviously he's got a better club to work with.
Canucks rewarded him with the biggest contract they've ever given anybody. A 4-year, $3.6 million deal for Trevor Linden, but he's earned his stripes here in this town. Had a couple of outstanding seasons to begin his career. And he's one of those leaders that is he's one of those guys that really has a tough time leaving the game at the rink. He'll be the first to admit that he takes the game home with him, and if the Canucks lose, he is miserable to be around. Now we have Graham in a scrap. Graham and Courtnall, and Jeff Courtnall not used to this kind of activity. He and Graham, now Linden and Sutter, and we got a problem on the far side. Everybody grabbing one another. Graham seemed to go at Courtnall, who's a stranger to this type of fisticuff. And on the far side now, as Graham and Courtnall are pulled apart, and everybody else is paired up. Well, the Canucks have a win and 3 losses. The Hawks, of course, have lost their last 3, and both teams having team meetings yesterday to try to right the ship. And a lot of wrestling going on. Randy Gregg and Greg Gilbert. And everybody now is separating. 8.5 left in the first, still no score.
Was upset with Courtnall. Courtnall took a run at him in the neutral zone when Graham was trying to get his stick. He dropped his stick, and he saw Courtnall along the boards and wanted to get at him. Courtnall took a poke at him with the gloves, and they both dropped their gloves and went at it. And it looks like Chelios is going to get thrown out, but Chelios, after the altercation, went at Ryan Walter, knocked him away, and realized it was Walter, a former teammate of his with Montreal. And then the rest of the players got involved in skirmishes. Gilbert and Gregg. Gilbert and Graham are now in the penalty box.
Well, and now Trevor Linden is heading toward the Vancouver dressing room, so we'll see what the calls will be from Rob Schick. You would have to suspect that there may be some misconducts to Chelios and Linden. Obviously both benches hoping they're just 10-minute misconducts and not the game variety.
Well, right now on the scoreboard it shows that Tonelli, or I should say that Chelios, is getting the additional minor penalty. 8:21 still to go in the first period. First real slowdown in the game. We've had good action at both ends, a lot of hitting, an excellent start to this game, and it promised to be a good game. And the Blackhawks really having tough luck tonight. 2 goal posts and some great saves from Kirk McLean, and that's why it's a scoreless tie.
And a 10-minute misconduct. To number 14, Greg Gilbert, a 10-minute misconduct. To number 33, Dirk Graham, 5 minutes for fighting. The Vancouver penalties to number 16, Trevor Linden, a 10-minute misconduct. To number 24, Randy Gregg, a 10-minute misconduct. To number 14, Jeff Portnoy, 5 minutes for fighting. The time 11:39.
Graham and Portnoy for fighting. Gilbert and Gregg get 10-minute misconduct. So does Linden. So does Chelios. But Chelios also gets an extra minor for roughing. And that will result in a Canuck power play.
This will be the third of the period. Vancouver 0 for 2 with their power play. Well, they give out these misconducts like they're candy at a Christmas party. These misconducts are getting dished around. Suspensions this week. Boy, that's a story in the NHL this week. Another suspension handed out today to Sandstrom of the Kings, 5 games. Gino Ajik of the Vancouver Canucks just got a 6-game suspension. Tom Webster got 12 games.
Doesn't even get a hearing with the league officials. All right, here's the draw now. The Canucks on the power play. And Gerald Didick sends it to Sandlak on right wing. Jim Sandlak beating Cliff Ronning to center. Ronning gets the line. Had it knocked loose, but Momesso kept it in. Now put it behind the net. Marchman hammered it around the boards. Not out. Didick sends it into the slot. Picked off by Larmer, who clears.
Good read by Marchman that time to move into the spot where he thought the pass might go, and he picked it off and deflected right to Larmer, and he was able to clear easily.
Now the Canucks dump it into the Hawk zone. They were short of center. The race is on, and Conroy there to touch it first. And this will be an icing call against Vancouver.
Well, Keith Brown's been in and out of the lineup the last little while with a bad groin. He's really been a big plus this year offensively on the point in the power play. And I don't know if he's 100% or not. Brown having some difficulty with that groin problem, and that when it happens early in the season, it doesn't ever seem to go away. It seems to hamper you the rest of the year unless you get a good break away from the game.
There's a guy, if you tell him to take a break, you'll have to fight him to sit him down. Always intense about being in shape and a real physical fitness buff.
Much like yourself, I'm really impressed with you. You're like Billy Mills today running around the wall there at Stanley Park.
Well, I just got lost.
Somebody was after your wallet.
Here's the draw now taken by Larionov. Dropped it to Bure. Here's Pavel Bure. Clearing it down into the Hog zone. Belfour scooped it to the far side. Lidster kept it in. Now Larionov back to the line. Adams. We have Lidster shaken up after that collision along the boards. The play is continuing. Now it's held in. Here's Adams trying to pick his way in front. Brown tied him up in the Hawks clear, and only now is Lidster limping off to the Canuck bench.
He was hit hard by Jeremy Roenick along the far boards.
Now Bure flipped it to center. Babbage there. Gave it to Pavel Bure. Thick handling over the Hawk line. Likes to go wide. But able to cut him off. And now the offside whistle blew. And Bure got a bump from Larmer as the whistle sounded, as well as Marchman. And that draws the ire of the home team.
Well, he was hit hard at the blue line of the Canucks by Sutter. And then as the whistle blew, Marchman couldn't hold up his momentum. And he knew who it was. He wanted to see how he would react. Larmer angled him towards the near boards. The whistle was blown as an offside, and then Marchman peeled off and didn't go near him. He had a chance to really keep going and hit him hard. Meanwhile, Lidster along the far boards in the offensive zone gets hit. Clean hit by Roenick, but he goes down awkwardly, and he fell on top of his leg. It fell under him, and he stayed down there for a longest time and then was able to limp off to the Vancouver bench.
There's half a minute for the Canuck power play. The draw is to Marchment, who clears. Dave Babbage, long feed, doesn't connect. Marchment back into his own end. And a rough ride from Big Sean Antoski. Now they wrestle in the corner. Everybody hacking away at it. And the whistle sounds just as the Chicago penalty expires, so both teams are back at full strength, and with Antoski on the ice, keep your head up. This is a fellow who last year had 330 minutes in penalties in Milwaukee in the International League, but he also had 17 goals, so he certainly made very good use of the ice time that he had.
This year in Milwaukee, only 3 goals in 14 games. He's called up to replace Gino Odjick, who's been their enforcer. Full-blooded Algonquin Indian who was suspended for 6 games for spearing McGinnis in the game against Calgary.
Sean Antoski was a first-round pick. He was the second pick the Canucks had in the first round in 1990. He was the 18th player chosen overall.
225 pounds he weighs.
Face off to the right of Ed Belfour. Here's the draw to Merzen with a long shot. Belfour, the blocker, save, juggled it, then got help from Jeremy Roenick, who flips it out to center ice. Now Merzen has trouble with Larmer, but able to clear it away to Antoski.
And Lume just high stick Goulet right in the forehead. Schick was way out behind the play and didn't see the call.
Now there's going to be a penalty on the Hawk bench, I think. As the Hawks control, the whistle sounds, and Rob Schick was right in front of the Hawk bench. They had to be screaming about what you just mentioned, and Schick just wheeled on the Hawk bench, pointed at somebody, put his arm in the air, and that'll be a bench penalty that will give the Canucks a power play. That will happen in just a moment with 6 minutes left in the first. Still no power play. Ryan Walter's been a good find for Pat Quinn as well. He's really brought some veteran leadership to this team. But now Vancouver with an extra man face off to the right of Ed Belfour, and Ronning won the draw. To Babbage trying to center it. Here's a shot, and a shot was blocked by Smith beautifully as Momesso wheeled and fired one. Now it's held in by Babbage to Lume at the near point. Cleared it in behind the goal. Marchment getting some help there, and then Smith's clearing effort is held in. Then Smith just took it away from Ronning, sends it to center, 3-on-2 for the Hawks. Larmer to the line, extra move, forcing Sutter offside, and the whistle sounds.
Well, Mike Keenan has been just chewing the ear of Shane Heyer as he was waiting for the faceoff. He was standing right at the blue line, which is by the gate of the Blackhawks bench. And Keenan screaming up at Heyer to remind Schick that there have been 2 high sticking calls that have been let go against Blackhawk players.
One of the twin towers in the linesman core of the NHL, Shane Heyer. And he stands much higher than just about anybody in the league. Here comes Ronning over the line. Left it for Sandlak, cutting in, back to Ronning. Shoot! Oh, great save to his left. The Canucks moving the puck beautifully on that rush. But Ed Belfour had the answer. And now Momesso and Marchment in a collision after the fact. And Momesso just wrestled to the ice by linesman Brad Lazarowicz.
Well, this started at the red line. Momesso and Marchment got their sticks up at each other, and then the play continued on. Ronning stick handling across the line, dropped it to Sandlak. Sandlak got it back to Ronning. Ronning shot. Good save by Belfour. I think this shot would have hit the side of the net, but Belfour was there to get the pad on it to make sure. The way things have been going for the Blackhawks on the road, you better make sure on every shot. Meanwhile, Marchment and Momesso sent off with 5:18 to go in a penalty-filled first period. But most of the penalties coming in the second half of the period. Had a very physical start to the game, very energetic start by both clubs, very well played period, but all of a sudden, Schick has taken control of this game and calling everything. Full house in the penalty box. 4 of them Blackhawk players in a very small penalty box to begin with. 7 players now in the penalty benches.
And a full house in the Pacific Coliseum as well, which is very nice to see after a lot of down years at the gate. And they're saying that there will be a new arena for this team. It's going to be privately financed by the Griffith family that owns the Canuck franchise. Here's Sandlak to the line, trying to center it. Greg Adams surrounded. Sutter took it away, and he cleared it. Now Lume. Cleared it to Ronning. Steps over the Hawk line, shot it around the boards. A minute remains on the Canuck power play. Big scuffle on the near side. Lume keeping it in, got it in front of the net. A bouncing puck over the stick of Adams. Larmer races to center, tries to go down, and Rob Schick keeps the whistle in the pocket to the dismay of the Chicago bench.
Well, Rob Schick is standing around watching. This is another situation. He was in the corner when the play was at the red line. Then all of a sudden he decided to start skating.
Now Roenick deep in his own end, hammers it around the boards and out. And Goulet hounding Didick, forcing him deep in the Canuck zone. Now Lidster up the right side. One more rush and the Canuck power play lead for Adams. He goes down. How can you call that a penalty after you let everything else go? Boy, oh boy. Canucks back to the power play. No score in Vancouver.
At 37 more shorthanded situations. And tonight this will be the 5th power play of the first period for Vancouver. 5 seconds still remaining on the 2-man advantage now for Vancouver, and a poor call. Buska's getting a penalty for hooking, and Adams went down on his own as he tried to cherry pick and sneak in behind the defense on the power play. And Schick put up the arm, and another player goes into the penalty box. Standing room only.
In 5 seconds, Conroy will be able to come out of there. Keenan wanting to get Schick over near his bench. And Rob only comes within about 20 feet as he tries to get the Hawk players out onto the ice. Face off in the neutral zone. And here's the draw. Now the Conroy penalty is over. Both teams, or not, I should say the Hawks are just one man short still. Here comes Bure. Bure stick handling to the Hawk line. Had to flip it into the corner. Conroy or Smith hacked at it. Now Bure had it knocked off his stick. Took a funny hop off the partition, but the Hawks able to clear it back to center ice. Lidster puts it into the Hawk zone. Smith going into the corner. Bure looking to tie him up. Now everybody hacking away at it. Puck came loose along the boards. It's taken by Bure in the corner. Out to the line, Didick. Near point to Lidster. He gave it to Lariano. Back to Lidster. His long wrist shot well wide of the target. Into the corner goes Brown. Puck jammed loose behind the net, then centered, but Larmer right in front of the goal to steal it, and he clears it down all the way. A minute to go on the Canuck power play as the Hawks steal and clear. Now Dave Babbage up the middle to Lume. Roenick forced him to turn. Now Lume lost it to Conroy at the Hawk line. Puck bouncing around there, and finally the Hawks able to clear it. Down to 2.5 minutes left in the opening period. Still no score in Vancouver. One more rush on a Canuck power play. Ronning clearing it into the Chicago zone. Cliff Ronning dropped it to the near point. Lume had it knocked away. Here's Tonelli moving up the left wing boards. Tonelli in on Lume. Couldn't get around it. Now back to center is Sandlak for Ronning over the line. He shoots one and he shot it wide. Rebounding to the mesh on the back of the net, and the whistle sounds as the Hawk penalty expires. Both teams are back at full strength, and Dale, I'll tell you, the Hawk penalty killing coming in for high marks in this first period.
5 power plays against. They've only allowed 6 shots on goal. The Canucks have had 2 scoring chances the entire first 18 minutes of this first period. The Blackhawks have hit 2 goal posts. They've had some quality chances. Meanwhile, with that whistle, everyone vacates the premises over there. Somebody's dropped a bomb over there, I think. 7 players scurry back to their respective benches. Toys for Tots coming to Chicago Stadium. Join the Blackhawks on Sunday, December 15th. Bring a new and unwrapped toy to the game. Your gift will make a Chicagoland child holiday season happier. Remember, it's Sunday, December 15th, when the Hawks host the Flyers. Game time is 1:30. It's sponsored in part by the United States Marine Corps. Well, those new toys won't take long for them to be used.
But it'd be a great opportunity to bring a smile to the face of a child who might not otherwise have something to unwrap on Santa Claus Day.
Well, we talked about the penalty killing. They've had 5 power plays, the Canucks, with still 2 minutes to go in the first period. They've yet to get a shot on goal in those 5 power plays.
Wow. Meanwhile, the other end, the Hawks have been shorthanded so much in this period, yet the Hawks have probably had more good scoring chances than Vancouver's had. Now in the neutral zone, puck kicked loose to Doug Lidster. He got it to Antoski. Kicked it over the line, and Crown in there offside, and a little skirmishing after the whistle sounded, but that's all for now.
This is what happens when you get frustrated with no goal production, a couple of high sticks to get away with, and all of a sudden you get really angry and over emotional, and you start to get carried away yourself, and that's when you start taking penalties. So the Hawks have to keep their composure here the rest of this period and settle down. They've had a good first period. It's scoreless, yet they've had 2 goal posts and a goal called back, and a couple other quality chances McLean has made saves on. When they get through this period scoreless, they'll sure get some power play action before the night's over.
Jeremy Roenick circling at his own line, ran right into Kron, then Marchment carried on to Larmer. Flipped it to Roenick. He's surrounded at the Canuck line. And now Conroy flipped it in behind the net. Doug Lidster clearing it out to center. Here's Gary Valk trying to get around Conroy, who made a nice poke check to take it away to Marchment. And he bounced it to center ice. Conroy fires one into the Canuck zone as the Hawks make a change going into the final minute of the period. And Brent Sutter in the neutral zone flipped it to Graham over the line. Graham on his offside trying to trickle it in front. McLean picks it off and covers it up. And now Paluso got shoved by Diddick. They drop their gloves. Paluso and Diddick wrestle into the corner. They start throwing haymakers. And now wrestling up against the glass. Gerald Diddick and Mike Paluso. Mostly wrestling for the last few moments, as neither man's able to get a hand free. And that's all there's going to be.
Well, Paluso with one hand on a stick tried to reach at McLean to try and...
Now the draw in the Vancouver zone. Brown to the near point. Smith chips it up the boards. Larmer had the stick knocked out of his hands with a big hit from Walter, and it's cleared back to the Hawk line. Dirk Graham to center. Works his way over the Canuck line on his off. We got around a check shooting. McLean made the save. Rebound to Graham. Back to the line. Brown returned it to Graham. Top of the ring. Cutting in a shot and a save by McLean. The rebound just eludes Larmer, who was flipped in front of the net. Now the Canucks are able to clear it. And a couple of last-second chances for the Hawks are thwarted. Now Larmer fires one from center. McLean fights it off into the corner. The clock winds down, and that's going to do it for the opening period. Well, a very good period played by the visiting team, which spent a lot of time shorthanded and still did not give up a goal. In fact, the Vancouver Canucks had only 6 shots, even though they had 5 power plays in the period, and the Hawks had 10 shots in the opening period of play, and obviously nobody was able to dent the net. So we're through 20 minutes in the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. It's the Blackhawks and the Canucks scoreless. But it's also become public knowledge up here that we've touched on it earlier. There's going to be a new building built by the Griffith family, and a privately financed deal. They're going to put it down near BC Place, the indoor stadium where the football team up here plays.
We don't have the best lease, I don't think, in the world here.
No. Over there they will. Parking, concessions, everything will be going to one area. That's the team ownership. Here's the draw, cleared into the Canucks zone. A centering pass knocked away from Larmer in front of the net. Then Brown held it in. It bounces to Roenick, who tried to center. Now he steals it. Roenick centered it. Went to the line, and Smith with a long shot. McLean stopped it. Rebound Lume. Pounded by Sutter to the corner. Lume wants a whistle. Roenick trying to jam it out of there. He does. Got it to Smith. Into the corner, Roenick. Bounce it to Sutter. Merzen all over him. They wrestle along the far side. Now, big scrum along the boards. Came loose to Brown. Chipped it in front of the net. A bouncing puck, and now a whistle. Is there a hand pass? But what's the call? Shane Heyer called a hand pass from the other side of the ice.
And there's not one Blackhawk player on the ice that made a hand pass. They have no idea why that play was called. It was Brown into Sutter, who in turn got it to Larmer, and not one person touched it with a glove. Now Roenick swatted at it, but he didn't blow the whistle till after Brown made the pass across to the next guy, and that's what really got the Blackhawks upset. But clearly it was a good call. It was the right call. It was a sneaky play by Roenick, who was on his stomach. He just swatted it right to Brown. And the face-off now will go to the neutral zone. There's still some discussion about whether it was a hand pass or not, but
well, now Rob Schick he didn't see it. He's drawing the face-off back to the right of McLean. Shane Heyer got it right. Even when Schick's buddy gets it right, he overrules him.
I wouldn't overrule Shane Heyer if he...
Half a minute left on the Hawk power play. Tonelli going for the draw with Larionov, and Tonelli won it. Here's Marchment teeing it up, faking, then centered it. It deflects to Larionov. Rolled it to the far side. Kron couldn't get it out. Here's Goulet trying to center. It came right back to him. He put it behind the net. McLean out to play it. Sends it to the near board. Noonan kept it in for Marchment to the corner. Marchment rolled it to Tonelli's side of the net, trying to center it. McLean blocked the pass, and Babbage put it to the near side. And now it's cleared to center ice. The Vancouver penalty over, and both teams are now back at full strength. Lidster back of his own net. Got it to Kron for Larionov. He backhands it to center ice, and Babbage looking for Courtnall over the line. Jeff Courtnall cutting in. He shoots, and he shot it up off the glass. Rebound, Babbage centered it, deflecting back to the near side, and it's captured by Brown. It was bumped along the boards. Now Conroy, now a penalty off the play right in front of Schick. It appeared Courtnall and Noonan in a confrontation. And Jeff Courtnall had a scrap earlier in this game, and now he'll be sent off again along with Noonan. It's early in the second, still no score.
Back of the leg. He took exception to a clean hit.
So coincidental minors are called, and now here comes Mike Hudson to center, feeding Graham with room over the line, fires, and a save by McLean. Rebound to the far corner. Now Hudson dug it out, looking for Graham. It bounced away, but Smith keeps it in to Marchment. He flipped it toward the slot area. It picked off by the Canucks, and here comes Sandlak. He flipped it behind the Chicago net. Belfour took it away from Steve Smith. Now it's coughed up in front of the net, but Graham was there to clear it. For some reason, Belfour wouldn't let Smith play the puck, even though he was circling behind and open, and now it winds up in the crowd.
Well, Smith was right there. He's ready to take it away and go with it, and then Belfour seemed to flip it behind him. Tough to play, and they both overskated it, and fortunately Dirk Graham was in front of the net. He was able to get the puck and pass it across to the left wing, and the Blackhawks were able to clear it. But a good quality chance once again for Dirk Graham, who finished the first period with 2 solid chances on the power play. Then some good passing from Hudson to Graham resulted in a good chance.
Rod Buskus dumps it in. Larmer to the far corner. Centered one. Roenick 2-0 cover. Then Goulet a shot, and it was stopped by McLean. Goulet centered it. Trickled right through the creases. Larmer got a piece of it. And then Linden starts the Canucks back to Adams. Gave it back to the Vancouver captain, Trevor Linden, over the line. Around Goulet. And then Conroy cut across to knock it off his stick. And it's Greg Adams.
The Blackhawks are furious. possession and resulted in a scoring chance and a goal. Boy, Schick has really given the Blackhawks a shaft tonight. Conroy was clearly hooked from behind, flat went to the seat of his pants. The Canucks picked up the puck in behind the net. Conroy would have been able to play it. Came out front, bang, it was in the net. Trevor Linden picked it up just outside his own line, was able to carry it in, went around Goulet, who's not a defenseman, went to the backhand. Then he hooks Conroy right to the seat of his pants. Walter was able to pick it up out front, bang it into the net. Should have been a penalty for hooking because it resulted in the scoring chance. Just an awful call. I mean, Conroy yanked right down and bang, it's in the net. Adams was knocked down from behind, and the momentum allowed him to get more force on the shot and put it in.
Greg Adams with his 8th goal of the year. And the Blackhawks. Adams gets assist from Walter and Linden.
And to number 16.
At 2:56, the Blackhawks had a goal disallowed in the first period. When it was shot into the net, Jeremy Roenick had his foot in the goal crease, did not have any influence on the play. That was disallowed, as the rule states. Now the Hawks have a man yanked to the ice who is going to be able to play the puck deep in his own end. That goes without a penalty, and the puck lines up in the net. I'm not sure that Rob Schick has given the Hawks as much of a problem as he's just missing a good game. A good game was had in the first 10 minutes, then he started calling everything, messed it up. He had his linesman make a correct call. He overruled that. He's just having a bad night. Hawks have to just be hopeful that he'll start screwing up as far as the Canucks are concerned, because he's certainly messing it up as far as the visitors are concerned. Now the plays at center ice. Gilbert had it knocked off his stick. A good doctor, Randy Gregg, gave it to Lidster. Now Cron. Robert Cron dumps it in. A face full of gloves from Hudson after the fact, but the play goes on. Now Smith bouncing it in. He was short at center, and the touch is made by the Canucks, and the whistle sounds, and Smith is angry with the icing call. 4 minutes gone in the second period, 1-0 Vancouver.
Out there, he needs 5 more games after tonight to reach the 1,000 milestone as far as games are concerned.
Been playing center for a good part of this contest. He's out there in the middle again with Grimson and Graham. And now Merzen's back in his own end for Vancouver. Here come the Canucks. Cliff Ronning motors at center. Steps to the line, fires a long shot that's stopped by Belfort to Conroy. Dave Conroy to Dirk Graham. He had his pocket picked, but rolled it to center, and the Canucks are back in offside.
And Dirk Graham gives Rob Schick a dirty look.
That is nothing new in this game. Faceoff will be outside the Chicago line. Jeremy Roenick, who in his career against Vancouver has played 7 games with 2 goals and 9 points. And Lemieux is on the left side now with Larmer and Roenick. Here's the draw. And Dana Merzen shooting it in. Chris Chelios back. Over skates, and here's a goal. Was wide open, and Linden just missed it. He hit the side of the net as Belfort seemed to fall down after Chelios just left the puck behind the net, over skating it. Now Chelios in his own end. Well, the Hawks dodge a bullet there. What looked to be a sure Canuck goal, and it would have been an easy tap in for Linden, but he failed to get it all the way around the net on a wraparound. Portnoy takes a run, and Roenick sticking his leg out. That goes without a whistle. Hawks dump it in to David Babbage's back to Merzen. Merzen clearing to center, and Trevor Linden on right wing. Linden over the line to Walter, trying to cut in. Chelios got a piece up. There's going to be a penalty coming up to Chicago. What a surprise. Hawks have to beat the Canucks and the referee tonight. They're losing 1-0.
Power play situation.
Lume off a draw, made an ill-advised pass, and now is to chase back to his own line. Lost it there to Larmer. Clearing to Sutter, who just overskates it as he and Chelios couldn't quite connect. Now Sandlak gave it to Jyrki Lume. Now Jeff Courtnall took a bump from Chelios, who knocked it loose and rolls to the Canuck line, but Ronning scurries back. Here come the Canucks. Sandlak to Ronning, over the line to Sandlak, cutting in. He turns behind the net. Now got rubbed off on the board. Kicked loose on the near side to Lume, wide open, fires. Belfour the save with the glove, and he hangs on.
Well, Brent Sutter with a good job to get back and angle the Canuck player hard into the end boards. Takes the body on Sandlak. Then Chelios and Sutter get tripped up. Puck goes to the point, and when Chelios goes out towards the point, so does Sutter, and Belfour making a good glove save at the top of the circle with Sandlak parked on the doorstep looking for a rebound.
Both times Belfour has beaten the Canucks. He shut them out. That will not be the case tonight if he is to get a win. But in 3 previous games, less than a goal against per game on the average for Belfour against this Vancouver squad. Just over a minute for the Vancouver power play here. The draw is taken by Lume at the near point. Up the boards to Linden. Back to the deep slot, Lume. Far side to Courtnall, through the box to Linden. Tees it up, shoots. Belted wide. The puck was on edge. Now Courtnall on the far board. Handed loose. Adams battling Brown. Now Greg Adams, back of the net to Bure. Or Larionov, rather. Larionov got it to Linden's side of the net. Put it back to the line in Lume. To Trevor Linden on the near side. Back to the deep slot. Lume, a shot blocked by Belfour, and he hangs on. Trevor Linden has been a very good player in his entire career. He really seems to have taken to this leadership role, and the Hawks are going to have to overcome the stats if they're to win this game. Trevor Linden assisted on the first Vancouver goal tonight. When he has a point, the Canucks have lost 1 time in 19 games. They're 15-1-3 when he gets a point. When he doesn't get a point, they're 0-6. But he said that he takes losing very hard, and he's trying to get that message across to all of his teammates. But in the professional game, losing is not acceptable, and he says he wishes he could change a little bit. His brother was quoted in the paper the other day as saying, last year I rarely even talked to Trevor. He was not a very happy guy to be around, and sort of kept to himself as the Canucks were struggling. But in the same paragraph, his brother said, I wish I could be a little bit more like him with his sense of purpose.
Well, it's a fine line. You've really got to keep some consistency in your attitude, winning or losing. You just can't take losing to affect your health-wise, and you're winning, you can't enjoy that either, so you got to find the consistency.
Courtnall with a long shot, steered away by Belfour, and Chelios tries to clear, couldn't get out. Linden is shooting. Belfour got a piece of that. Great chance for Linden, and Belfour made a great stop. Now Smith looking to clear. He does. And the Hawk penalty will expire now, and both teams are back at full strength. Now the Canucks, Courtnall works his way over the line to Linden. Trevor Linden on Smith. Forced in behind the net. Smith gave a rough ride there. Now Larionov picked it up. Igor Larionov left it for Greg Adams. Deep slot to Courtnall. His long shot blocked by Graham. He's going to have a breakaway. Dirk Graham is in from the blue line. He cuts for the net. Fake shoots. Dirk Graham had a breakaway from center ice in, and tried for the glove side but missed the net. Linden the other way. Been out there a long time. Linden gave it to Larionov. Over the line, 2-on-1. Adams cutting in for Linden. Great play by Marchment. He sprawled to block the pass, and it's wedged underneath him, and the whistle sounds. 12 minutes left in the second period. 1-0 Van.
Great chance on a partial break. This is a full break. Fakes the shot, gets McLean down, shoots it wide. The other end, 2-on-1 situation. Brian Marchment, fine defensive play. dangerous situation. Adams trying to get it over to Linden for a tap in.
Now the draw to Conroy, bouncing it back into the Canucks zone. Gerald Diduck has to hurry with Lemieux chasing. Diduck fires it off the glass the other way. Conroy will have to play it. He bounced it to center where Roenick steps over the Vancouver line. Roenick dropped it to Larmer, was at his feet, rolled it in front, right to the net, and McLean swept it away. Then Lemieux looking to center. It's picked off by Diduck, and now Antosky trickled it to center ice. Hawks dump it in. Babbage back. Here's it to Gary Valk, bouncing it to the neutral zone. Now Babbage cleared it ahead to Cron over the line. Robert Cron, the shot is blocked by Smith. Rebound to Larmer. Steve Larmer up the right wing board. He gets the line with Antosky. Now they wrestle to the corner. And the puck came loose to Valk. Got it to Cron at center. On a back pass over the line to Lidster to Momesso. A shot right on. Belfour just got ready for that at the very last second and was able to corral it.
Well, the shot was deflected by Brian Noonan. It hit his stick and changed directions, and Belfour had to fight it off and got his body in front of it. At the other end, though, the Blackhawks with a good scoring chance. Good spin around behind the back pass from Cron. And then Momesso coming on a player change. Everyone looked, no one was there, and then all of a sudden on a player change he was open. Puck came to him, he let it go and hit Noonan's stick, and Belfour, good save.
Only one goaltender in the NHL exceeds the excellent goals against average of Ed Belfour, 2.13. Coming into the game tonight, only Patrick Waugh of Montreal has compiled the better individual goals against average.
Yeah, he gave up 5 this afternoon to the Bruins, so that'll go up.
Now the draw in the Hog zone. Marchment cleared it to Peluso, who couldn't get it out. Now bouncing around. Marchment and Peluso lost it. Ronning cutting in. Quick stop. He shoots. And a save by Belfour. Little Cliff Ronning puts on a show in traffic to get a chance, and the Hawks will take an icing call after the fact.
Well, Cliff Ronning has been a big surprise. He came over last year at 6 goals and 6 assists in 11 games. And he's continued on a great pace here this year. He's a native of Vancouver. And was up and down with the St. Louis organization. Played most of his hockey in the International League with Peoria. Then went over to Europe. Had brilliant numbers over there. Then came back. Had a pretty good start with St. Louis. And whenever things start to go bad, they seem to put Cliff Ronning down to the minors. A similar situation to the Blackhawks with Mike Stapleton. Meanwhile, Ronning with 22 points and at even strength.
Those Pittsburgh players, that big line, that'll go up. Those numbers will go up. 7 goals between Lemieux, Stevens, and Yager today, with Stevens getting 4 in the big Pittsburgh victory. One line scoring 7 goals. Boy. We're halfway through the second period here in Vancouver. The Canucks lead it 1-0. The Hawks dump it in. Graham to the corner, centered, and it didn't get to Gilbert. Now the near corner is Sutter. He takes a look, allowed to stand there by Ronning. He put it in behind the net. Over to the far point, it hopped away from Marchment to center. Chelios there. He's hounded, lost it to Momesso. Momesso dropped it to Sandlak, trying to center it. Goes through. Here's a shot. Shot wide by Ronning. Winding up back in the Canuck zone. Graham hustling. McLean well out of the net. And 40 feet out of his goal, McLean stopped the rush and then made it a 2-line pass. You don't see many goaltenders making 2-line passes. But McLean just did there halfway through the second. 1-0 Canuck. Former Canuck and former Hawkdale talent. Pat Foley in the Pacific Coliseum. Here's the draw to Keith Brown. Gave it to Conroy. His shot and a save. McLean rebound to the Canucks. Here comes Linden motoring to center ice. He feeds Courtnall on left wing, cutting in the shot. Belfour with the right pad stopped it. Rebound into the near corner. Linden coming up with it. Trevor Linden tried to center. Conroy blocked the pass nicely. Now Courtnall to the near corner, trying to take a dive. Good no call as he and Roenick collide. In behind the goal it goes. Here's Courtnall picking it up. Tried to center, picked off by Larmer. And a penalty behind the play is Linden battling with Conroy. Linden appeared to have gotten a high stick. And there's going to be a penalty called, at least one. We'll see if they're both going to be sent off, but for the moment it looks like just Conroy will head to the box.
Boy, 7th time of the game the Vancouver Canucks will go to the power play. 7-3 the power play differential, and it hasn't been that type of game. It's been a physical game, but it's amazing. But meanwhile, it's Conroy getting the stick up on Linden in front of the net, and Schick only looking one way tonight.
I understand you were a pregame guest tonight on the local radio for the Vancouver radio station that covers the games, or the Blue Line Club, or whatever they have here. That club,
Center Ice Club.
Center Ice Club, and warmly received.
This is amazing. First time ever in this building. Although there were 3 other times I got standing ovations in this building, and all 3 times they carried me off in a stretcher.
1-0 Canucks. They look to add to it with a power play opportunity. Ronning gets the draw to Diddick. Harold Diddick to the near corner. Now Diddick trying to center it, and a penalty is going to be called. Ronning just got flattened behind the net. The Hawks are going to be 2 men short, and this will be that hitting from behind or boarding call, it would appear. And Cliff Ronning, who was a little nauseous today with some flu problems, didn't skate in the early skate today, really got hammered behind the goal. We got elbowed.
Well, it's amazing the rules that they're changing so quickly. The crease rule and the hitting from behind rule. And Ronning, who is about 5'5", maybe 5'6" at the most, and Chelios is 6'1", 6'2", and he went to hit him in the boards, and he's going to get an elbowing call. Very easy to elbow. We can call an elbowing call against Ronning every time he's hit by a player that's 5'8" or 9".
Well, look out here. The Canucks are the second best defensive team in the league average-wise. They have allowed an average of 2.64 goals against. Only Montreal is better. And now a 2-man advantage for Vancouver for just about the full 2 minutes. So a key situation in this game with the Hawks already trailing by 1. Larmer and Graham remain out there. Brown is going to join them.
And Steve Smith gets an additional penalty, a 10-minute misconduct. So Blackhawks have had Chelios with a misconduct, and now Steve Smith with a misconduct, 1 in each period. So the Blackhawks really frustrated with the performance of Schick, but regardless, you've got to keep your control. You haven't been scoring, you haven't been winning. You've just got to bite the bullet and wait until you get an opportunity to get a big lead before you start doing things like that. And Schick has really been clamping down on the Blackhawks.
And there are 4 forwards out for the Canucks. Lume's the only defenseman. He's in the deep slot. Far circle to Courtnall, back to Lume. His pass deflected, but Linden got to it. Linden battling Larmer, who took it away. Clearing. Steve Larmer with a great job.
First anticipate the pass to the near boards, got a stick in front of it. Then he got some help with Linden falling down, but he was able to pry it loose from him and clear.
Now Larionov to Courtnall over the line, streaks in on Larmer, who yanked him down. The Hawks got away with 1 there, but it's about time they did. Here's Linden at the near point. Deep slot to Lume. Far circle to Courtnall. Jeff Courtnall back to Lume. 2-man advantage for Vancouver. Lume's long shot deflecting into the near corner. Larionov has it there. Center one. They score! Greg Adams scores his 2nd goal of the game. This with a 2-man advantage. And it's 2-0 Vancouver.
Well, you got to have your stick on the ice so that you can prevent those passes across. When you're 2-man down, Larmer did it beautifully to prevent a pass earlier with a stick on the ice. Keith Brown's got a stick up around his waist as he comes across. And then by the time he puts it on the ice in front of him to put it back behind him where the pass originated, he couldn't get a stick there. And bang, Larionov with a great pass. Adams, all he had to do was advance it. And bang was in the net, and Adams gets his 2nd, and it's a 2-0 lead, and they still stay on the power play, the Canucks.
By number 8, Greg Adams.
Oh, the only hockey player ever inducted to the Hall of Fame at the University of Northern Arizona. Gets his 2nd goal of the game. Lume and Larionov get the assists at 11:58. Well, Greg Adams with 2 tonight and 9 for the year, and still a power play here for Vancouver. They're trying to get the penalty clock straightened out. It's still showing a full 2 minutes to Chelios, which is not right. And now they get it back to 1:09 where it should be. Well, the Canucks with a chance to add to the lead again with a power play. 69 seconds remaining on that. And the draw is taken by Marchment, wasting some time before he clears it. Jeff Courtnall tied up by Sutter. He took it away, then just missed Roenick with a feed. Here comes Ronning racing. Cliff Ronning over the Hawk line. Dropped it to Sandlag. Picks his way into the near corner. Tied up Marchment. Chased it behind the net. He and Ronning battle there. Now Sandlag came up and he centered. Deflecting. Back to the far point, and Babbage holds it in. Babbage cleared it around the board. Game loose on the near side, and Roenick sends it down all the way. Half a minute for the Canuck power play. Long feed from McLean, missing everybody. It'll be a two-line pass if Sandlag touches it. And now it's the whistle is sounded anyway.
Well, what this does, besides the fact that you're shorthanded and you give up power play goals and chances against your better players that play power play, and your offensive stars also kill penalties, they're exhausted. You're on this is the 4th game of a 5-game road trip. They've had to kill penalties the most of this hockey game, and well, how much will they have left to come from behind to get some offense together?
Jim Sandlag had only 13 points last year. He mentioned a former #1 pick that's had difficulty scoring, but this year already 18 points. So he's already exceeded his output of a year ago offensively. And now Mike Peluso is on a defense position here with Brown for the last few seconds of this power play situation, and with Chelios in the box and Smith with a misconduct. Peluso trying to use some versatility to help the team out, and he makes a nice play up the middle here to center ice where Hudson comes racing over the line, cuts for the net, shoot, and a save by McLean. Hudson got the outside on Randy Gregg, but couldn't finish. Here's a lead, a chance for Volk, and a save by Belfour. Gary Volk was in alone, but Belfour beat him. Both teams are at full strength. Here's Chelios over the line. Chelios shoots, and a save by McLean. Both teams are back at full strength. Here's Peluso with a long shot, and a save by McLean. Rebound cleared to center, and just hopped away from Antosky, or he might have been in alone. Now Peluso deep in his own end, and a penalty is going to be called. A penalty, another penalty against the Hawks, it looks like. And once again, Vancouver to the power play. The Canucks lead it 2-0.
To the other end, McLean. And Mike Hudson with his speed, utilizes his speed to go wide on the defenseman, cuts in, gets whacked, goes to try and tuck it in. The puck squirts away. McLean still makes a good save. McLean also made a good save on Chelios as he came out of the penalty box, and then a good save on Peluso. And meanwhile, the puck goes into the Blackhawks zone. Chris Chelios gets nailed for a high sticking at 13:40. The Vancouver Canucks with 6.5 minutes still to go here in the second period. This will be their 9th power play. And their 3rd straight. The Blackhawks have had 3. The Canucks have had 1 power play goal. Their last one to give them a 2-0 lead.
The draw to Steve Conroy. Hammers it off the boards, not out. Lume did well to keep it, and then he got run over by Roenick, but Linden kept it in there. Linden to the far circle. Courtnall, a shot. Scores! Greg Adams was right in front of the net. He may have tipped it, but Jeff Courtnall snapped one, and on the Canuck power play, their 2nd power play goal of the game. It's 3-0 Vancouver.
Well, Courtnall just snapped it. I think he surprised Belfour. Belfour partially screened. The puck kept in by Lume, was run over by Roenick, kept in by Linden. He slipped across. Courtnall, the top of the circle, just snapped the wrist shot through the legs of the defenseman, and Belfour was not allowed to get set. And he tried to go down on his knees in his butterfly style, and in the process of going down, it was in and out. Courtnall just ripped it with a snapshot. to give the Canucks a 3-goal lead. 12th goal of the year for Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall doing his last 4 seasons, 36, 42, 35, and 33 goals in his last 4 years. And he's done it with 3 different teams.
He's been shipped around a lot in this league, but continues to score no matter where he goes. He was one of the 4 players acquired from St. Louis late in the year. That excellent deal made by Pat Quinn. Here's Conroy, a long shot deflecting just wide of the near post. And now Brent Sutter put it to the line. Chelios, a long shot deflecting wide. And we have a penalty coming up again as they scuffle on the near side. That was Linden and Lume who assisted Courtnall's power play goal at 13:57. And now the Blackhawks will head to a rare power play opportunity. 3-0 Van.
And Tosky and Peluso got into a bit of a shoving match, so they've
Time 14:25.
Well, they give him a 10-minute misconduct to Antosky. Why would that then be a minor penalty?
Well, they lose the services of Antosky for 10 minutes.
Whoop-de-doo.
Blackhawks have lost the services of Chelios, and now Steve Smith. Trevor Linden was lost for the Canucks in the first period as well with a misconduct. But he's gotten a lot of ice time. He was well rested, and he's made the best of this second period situation. He's had 2 assists.
Hey, Mike, put on Chelios. Let's even it up.
Well, the Hawks with a power play chance, and here's the draw to Keith Brown. Faking the long shot, now lets it go. It didn't get through. Bounce to Larmer, though. Walks to the deep slot. Side of the net to Peluso. Back to Brown. Here's the drive. It's deflected wide of the net. Conroy holding it in. Put it in behind the goal. Taken by Diddick. Weakly along the board to Brown, whose shot doesn't get to the net. Now Larmer in the near corner. Deep slot to Brown, a long shot. McLean stopped and Larmer the rebound. He shot it 6 feet wide with a quick release. Now Peluso on the far side. Near point to Brown. Keith Brown moves in. Put it to Larmer on the near board. Takes a look. His shot deflected wide by Walter, who was right there in front of him. And it bounces in the deep slot. Now there's going to be a penalty call to the Canucks. Keith Brown will give up possession to get the whistle. The clock winding down as the Hawks slow to react to that dump in. The Canucks wouldn't play it, and the whistle finally sounds.
They dump it in. They gave up possession so they would get a longer 2-man advantage, and the Canucks wouldn't touch it. Finally, Schick blew the whistle before they even decided to touch it. So 1 minute 3 seconds, the Blackhawks will have a 2-man advantage, and you expected this type of thing with the disparity in penalties. 9-3 the situation was in favor of Vancouver as far as power plays, and now the Canucks better get ready because the rest of the night they're probably going to play short-handed. From the net, Peluso was tripped as he was a big target in front. And then Roenick was knocked down by Diddick as well. Diddick in the box along with Lume. Lume still has 1 minute 3 seconds remaining on his penalty.
Face off outside the Vancouver line. And Greg Adams will be out there with Lidster and Gregg for the Canuck penalty killing team. Roenick, Larmer, and Goulet in front. With Brown and Conroy, the Canucks win the draw and clear it. Jeremy Roenick moves up the left side. Gains the line, working his way to the far corner, turns there. Back to the line, Conroy across to Brown. His long shot, McLean stopped it. Rebound to the near board. Brown able to hold it in. Back to the line and Larmer. Steve Larmer to the deep slot. Gave it to Conroy, back to Larmer. He fakes, takes a look, near circle to Goulet. He and Larmer play catch. Now Larmer faking, shooting, and blocked again. A couple of times on this power play, Larmer's attempted to shoot through people and been unsuccessful. Now Brown, near circle to Goulet, kicked him to the stick, centered a tip. They score! Jeremy Roenick picked up the carom after the Hawks hit the goalpost for the third time in the game. This time they got a good bounce that went right to Roenick, and it's 3-1 Vancouver.
And they continue to stay in the power play with still time, 9 seconds left on Lume's penalty. But talk about tough luck for Goulet. Finally snaps one, hits the post, it comes right out, and Roenick was able to tuck it in. But Goulet's hit 2 goalposts tonight. One a sure empty netter that looked like he could have scored. And it hit the post in the first period. This time it hits the post, it comes out the other side, and bang, Roenick was there to muscle it in. And it's a wonder they didn't disallow the goal, because Roenick was close to the goal crease.
17th goal of the year for Jeremy Roenick, and now a one-man advantage for another minute for the Blackhawks, who now trail at 3-1. Here's a Lume steal. Lume to the Hawk line. Marchment took him off the puck. Here's Chelios. He gave it to Marchment. Now Chelios leading Sutter over the line. Sutter tries to center. It's picked off by Linden. He clears. Goulet and Brown got the assists on Roenick's 17th at 16-12. Half a minute for the Hawk power play. Chelios hammers it in. Sutter to the near corner, had it knocked loose to Lume. He's knocked down behind the net, falling on top of the puck. Then it's trickling away from him. He gets back up, trying to clear. Chelios kept it in. Across to Marchment. His long shot. Stop. Rebound. Oh, shot wide. Great chance for Noonan. He missed the net. And now Noonan at the near point has it. Noonan cuts in. Gave it to Chelios. Back to Noonan. He scores! Brian Noonan on a beautiful give and go with Chris Chelios. And Noonan, who's been snow snake bitten for so long, finally fires one in. And the Hawks trail at 3-2.
A little too much snow in his way that time, but he did pull the trigger on a good give and go. Finally, Brian Noonan. Just prior to that, he missed the net, tried to go high. He's trying to make the right shots. He's hit the post tonight. That time he saw McLean going down. He tried to put it high over him. He shot it over the net. Meanwhile, a good fake at the point by Noonan into Chelios. Noonan back into the hole, return pass on the money, and bang, Noonan put it inside the far post to beat McLean. 2 power play goals for the Blackhawks, and guess what? It's a 3-2 Vancouver lead. Well, no power play. The power play just expired, but Noonan anyway will take the 3rd goal of the year after hitting 7 goalposts.
Chelios and Marchment get the assists, but a beautiful give and go with Noonan and Chelios, resulting in a 1-goal Vancouver lead now. And here's the draw taken by Cliff Ronning. Ronning to the Hawks. Oh, got around Conroy. Shoots. Hit the crossbar. And the Hawks get a break as Cliff Ronning undressed Conroy at the line, and then fired it past Belfour, but it hit the crossbar and went into the crowd.
Well, you better get low against Conroy. It looked like Conroy, or I should say Ronning, looked like Conroy had position, but somehow he ducked under his left arm and rattled it off the crossbar. Ronning think like he was going to go to the middle. Conroy thought he had him, but he had nothing but air, and bang. Belfour gets a break, as McLean did in the first period.
We're late in the second period now, 3-2 in favor of the Canucks, who at one point had a 3-0 lead. Faceoff will be outside the Chicago line. We're in Winnipeg Sunday night. Have a look at the surprising Jet team.
They've been lost in their last 6 games.
Roy Murray, Ed Olczyk and company will be ready for the Hawks Sunday night, 6:50 on the radio, 7 o'clock on television. The Hawks and the Jets. Here comes Ronning. Tees it up. Shoot. Shot it wide from a tough angle. And now Roenick the other way. Roenick feeding Larmer on right wing at center. Put it back to Roenick. Around a check, cutting for the net, centered it. Peluso couldn't advance the puck. It was flopping a bit on him. Hot pass from Roenick, and Peluso had an open side, but unable to make contact. Now the Canucks flip it to the Hawk zone, and off the play, Marchment and Ronning bang along the boards, and another penalty coming up here against the Hawks and Marchment.
Well, Rob Schick's going to have blisters on those lips tonight from blowing that whistle so many times and calling so many penalties. Well, Marchment gets the only penalty, and Ronning has drawn the ire of the Blackhawks. He's created a couple of power plays. He was hit by Chelios, which resulted in a 2-man advantage. And now Marchment, minute 39. This will be the 10th power play for the Vancouver Canucks. 165 times the Blackhawks have been shorthanded. Sure, you can fault Schick for his lack of calling both ways, but the Blackhawks have lost control a bit too because of Schick's inability to make the right calls.
Last couple of games now, some very frightful remembrances of a year ago when the Hawks, the last couple of years, when they've hurt themselves with penalties. Some of those things starting to creep back into their game here the last couple of outings. Here's Adams over the Hawk line, gave it to Larionov. Barboard to Courtnall, a shot and a save by Belfour, and he hangs on. .68 seconds left in the second period. Faceoff will be to the left of Ed Belfour. Jeff Courtnall leading the Canuck team with 12 goals.
Well, this is a big penalty kill for the Blackhawks. They've cut the deficit. They were down by 3 goals. They made it 3-2. Minute 29 left on the penalty. A minute 8 left in the second period.
Here's the draw to Chelios with plenty of time and room to clear it. We're in the final minute of the second period here in Vancouver. Now a steal by Conroy. He got it in front. Roenick with a chance. He shoots. McLean rebound. Sutter behind the goal. Great save by Kurt McLean on a point-blank chance from Roenick, who tried to stick handle him down and out but couldn't finish. And here come the Canucks 2-on-1. Courtnall centered it. Adams right in for the hat trick. And a save by Belfour. Rebound Linden. Tried to center it. Adams another chance. He shot it wide. Now Larionov has it. Centering. Deflected. Chelios, and they score. Larionov was looking for Courtnall. Chelios intercepted a pass, only to have it hit his stick and bounce into the Hawk net. It's 4-2 Canucks.
Well, Canucks having everything their way tonight. Things going their way that time. The bounce pass. Great save. Belfour on Adams, preventing the hat-trick goal. That would have been his 10th of the year. He makes a great save. Then the pass across. The backhand shot bounced through the crease by Adams into the corner to Larionov. His intended pass for the defenseman coming late. It hits Chelios in the stick and goes into the net. So it should be an unassisted goal for Larionov. 28 seconds were left when he made the pass across and off Chelios and into the net. And a big goal for the Canucks. Another power play goal. Their 3rd power play goal in 10 power play chances.
Oh, they give 2 assists. How can that be? Little home cooking for Adams and Linden, who are awarded gift assists. And now here come the Hawks. Here's a chance, and Hudson's shot deflects up off the glass. Here's Brown, a long shot deflecting into the far corner, and that does it for the second period. Well, the second period, an eventful one on the score sheet after a scoreless first. Greg Adams got the Canucks started from Walter and Linden at 2:56. Then 2 power play goals for Vancouver. Adams from Larionov and Lume, followed by Courtnall from Linden and Lume. And it was a 3-0 Vancouver lead. The Hawks got a power play strike from Jeremy Roenick, his 17th of the year. Goulet and Brown helping at 16-12. Then Brian Noonan popped in his 3rd with a nice give and go from Chelios. Marchment also assisting at 17-21. Then moments ago, Igor Larionov's centering pass hit the stick of Chelios and went into the Hawk net. Larionov's a power play goal, and 2 gift assists awarded to Adams and Linden at 19:36. Shots on goal in the second period, 14 for Vancouver. Their total is 20. 12 for Chicago, and their total is 23. So the Blackhawks drew to within 1, but now face a 2-goal deficit going to the third period. It's Vancouver 4 and Chicago 2.
Kurt McLean is using a Hespeler hockey stick. When I was a kid growing up, they were at a Hespeler Green Flash or a Hespeler Micmac. You were king of the block, but they stopped making sticks. I guess they're back in the business, or someone has bought the company and started making sticks again.
It served him well with a record of 15 wins to lead the NHL at this point. Going for number 16 tonight, and he and the Canucks lead 4-2 as we start the third period. Randy Gregg in his own end, a Lidster bouncing it out to center. Now Larmer back to the line, has no help as the Hawks are changing. Able to roll it behind the net, however, and Doug Lidster is on it. Now it's cleared back to the center ice area. They're corralled by Goulet, feeding over the line. Sutter, a drive, and a save by McLean, who came well out of the net to challenge him. And it's cleared back to the Hawk line. Brent Sutter, if you joined us late, had a goal disallowed. He scored on a backhander from point-blank range in the first period, which would have been the first goal in the game. But it was disallowed because it was ruled by Rob Schick that Jeremy Roenick was in the crease, which he was, but he did not have any effect on the play. But Schick called the rule as it's written, and a rule that should be changed and probably will be before the next season, if not sooner. Here come the Hawks now as Graham has the line on the left wing boards. He shoots a backhander and a save by McLean, who hangs on.
Dirk Graham has had some quality chances tonight. Missed the breakaway, missed the partial breakaway, and that time he tries to maybe get lucky, make up for missing the breakaway. Just muscled the backhander in there from a very poor angle. Hawks have yet to come from behind this year. 9 times they trailed going into the third. Most teams are very good at protecting leads. It's 9-1-1 for Vancouver protecting the lead after 2s. I'll tell you, the effect of that penalty killing in the first period really might have had an effect in the second period on their penalty killing. They might have been tired.
Good chance with the Canucks having so many power plays. What have they had, 10 now? Here's a long shot by Sandlak, gloved by Belfour, playing it to the near side. Momesso kept it in. Sergio Momesso had it knocked away by Conroy. Now behind the goal is Brown, and he sends it out to center ice. Greg Gilbert, one of the victims of all the power plays against the Hawks, has not played a lot. Now tries to shoot along when it deflects up into the crowd.
On the up scoreboard, another NHL final.
There's one of the guys that you touched on earlier. People that don't play on special teams, especially penalty killing in this game for the Hawks, have not been able to get much ice time, and Gilbert's one of those guys.
Well, it's a sort of double whammy effect. The guys that do play get tired because they get so much ice time, and the guys that don't do it just sit up there, sit on the bench and seize up so they don't get into the flow of the game.
Pavel Bure making maybe just his third shift of the game. He did not play at all in the second period, and the crowd's been waiting for him to get a chance because he can do some electrifying things. Now here's a steal by Vancouver. Long feed intended for Bure, and Chelios had that play diagnosed. Made a nice steal and dumped it back into the Canuck zone, and Babbage is there. Dave Babbage flipped it to center ice. Lemieux had Bure coming at him, and Bure knocked it into the Hawk zone. Belfour sweeps it along the boards. Came to Bure, shooting. Shot it up off the glass. And Stu Grimson bounced it to Lemieux, clearing to center ice. Now Larionov for Bure on the right wing boards, and he's unable to get away from Grimson, and did a nice job defensively. And here's Peluso, who trickles it out to center ice. Dave Babbage sends it over the line. Bure in traffic, had nowhere to go with it. Finally Roenick took it away. Now it's stolen at center by Courtnall. Gets over the Hawk line. He's hauled down, and a penalty will be called here against Chicago. The 11th power play of the game coming up for the Canucks, and Vancouver leading 4-2.
Play goals in 10 previous chances.
Trevor Linden calling a huddle to get the power play team together. He's out there with Walter and Adams.
Got to get the snap count right.
Jeff Courtnall works the point here, so again 4 forwards out there for Pat Quinn's Canucks. Courtnall, by the way, having scored a goal earlier tonight. He now has a 10-game point streak, Courtnall, with 8 goals in those 10 games. Now in the Hog zone. Cleared down the length of the ice.
And there's Beef Yerky Lume.
Beef Yerky. Here's Belfour trying to clear one. He shot it into the penalty box. Let's see what the call is going to be.
It's going to be a penalty.
Rob Schick is going to see if it hit the back glass or the front glass first. I think it hit the back glass first, and I think the Hawks are going to be 2 men short. Let's see.
They're asking the timekeeper if it hit the back glass.
No, a rare situation where the Hawks easily could have been called for a penalty and are not going to be.
Well, that clearly hit the back glass. I don't think it hit the back glass. There's no way that should be a penalty.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, it takes a lot of strength and skill to shoot the puck from your own goal crease right into the penalty box at the red line. I'm going to say it hit the top part of the glass and went into the penalty box. Well, the Hawks finally get a break.
But the Canucks still on the power play. Lume at the far point. Up the boards to Linden. Dropped it back to Lume. Forecourt and all the shot. Shot it wide with a one-timer. Rebound to Noonan, who clears. Now an errant pass made by McLean goes the length. It's going to be an icing call against the Canucks. Chelios waiting to touch it before somebody comes to him, and finally he does.
It's about the second or third time that McLean has iced the puck, and a couple times he initiated 2 line passes. Well, 2 very active goaltenders. 2 goaltenders that like to handle a puck and get involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Face off back to the right of the Canuck net. 16 minutes remaining in the 3rd period. The 7th time the sellout of the crowd. The arena's been sold out here for the Canucks. They had only 9 sellouts all of last year. And you know, the economics of the NHL today, Pat Quinn was saying when the Canucks were in Chicago, if all goes well, the Canucks are going to lose over $1 million. That was before he signed Linden to that big deal. He plays in the Hog zone. Courtnall on the near point, moves in, shoots. Belfour stopped it. Rebound, Ronning trickled it in front, picked off by Chelios. Hawks move 2-on-2. Chelios tried to feed Graham, who didn't anticipate it coming. It's taken away. And Sandlak over the Hawk line. And then as center, Chelios picked it off and cleared.
I imagine Smith and Chelios are going to get a lot of ice time because they both had misconducts and penalty time.
One more rush on this Canuck power play. Lume cleared to Ronning at center. He steps over the Hawk line. Chipped it to the near side. Momesso flipped it along the boards. Conroy battling behind the net. Ronning dug it out of there. Top of the ring to Courtnall. His long shot is blocked. Over to the far corner where Roenick couldn't get it out. The penalty is over. Both teams at full strength. Here's Ronning. His shot is blocked. Dribbling in front of the net. Belfour able to sweep it in behind a Conroy. And Sandlak tied him up. Now Momesso dug it out for Ronning. The shot, and he didn't get much on it as he dribbled it wide. And Keith Brown able to work it back to center. Shot it to an open wing instead of dumping it in. Here come the Canucks back. And the play broken up nicely by Brown, who recovered. And back to center ice it goes. Cleared behind the Canuck goal. 6 minutes gone in the 3rd. 4-2 Vancouver. Here's Bure. And then got it back. Faking. Quick turn. Got rid of a check. Bure now the shot. He ripped it wide. Rebound Larionov. His long shot doesn't get through. Behind the net to Chelios. He couldn't get it out. Now a long shot. Gloved by Belfour. And he holds on. And everybody gets excited because Chelios knocked Adams down, but no penalty on the way. It's Vancouver leading Chicago 4-2.
Pavel Bure, world-class player. Great pickup of a pass behind him through the legs. The pass on the money to Adams, picks it up and cranks it just wide after spinning around. Great performance here by Bure, and he rattled it off the crossbar.
Now the draw taken by the Hawks. Here comes Lemieux racing to Hudson rather. Hudson over the line trying to center it. Gilbert too well covered. And Bure overskates it. Held in by Conroy. Flipped it into the corner. Now Gilbert leaves it there for Noonan. Brian Noonan trying to shoot. And he had a shot stopped by McLean. Now the rebound taken by Noonan. It's at his feet. Can't find it. Bure comes out.
Noonan was yanked down and no call once again.
Here's Randy Gregg. Hoisting it into the Hog zone. Going back is Roenick, and the icing call made against the Canucks. How bad did Pavel Bure want to play in the National Hockey League? He was drafted a couple of years ago by the Canucks and just recently secured his release from the Soviet Federation. And when the negotiations between the Canucks and the Soviet Red Army team broke down, there was a big argument about what the Canucks were going to pay to free Pavel Bure. The argument wound up with the teams $50,000 apart. The Canucks were not going to pay any more, and the Soviets were not going to back down from their demand. Pavel Bure said, I'll pay the 50 grand. Just get me out of here. I want to play in the National Hockey League in Vancouver. So he took $50,000 out of his own pocket to secure his release from his contract in the Soviet Union.
You can afford it. How about the Soviets now going to form their own professional league because they're losing so many players that they won't be able to ice a very good team in the Olympics and in world competitions anymore. So they're going to try and form their own league.
A pro league. People are standing in bread lines and they're wondering if they're going to pay money to watch hockey games. That's going to be a tough sell over there, I think.
Well, they pay to watch a lot of hockey.
Look out in the crowd as a dump in sails up into the seats. Well, how many rubles would it take for you to get over there?
There's not enough of them, buddy. I've been over there twice. Downtown Moscow is like Buffalo on a slow night.
Jyrki Lume missed the last couple of games with a scratch near his eye, which was incurred by a high stick from Mark Messier. He's a very valuable member of this blue line core for the Canucks.
Another good acquisition by Pat Quinn getting him. He was drafted by the Canadiens and then made a deal through St. Louis. St. Louis's draft choice that ended up to be a deal with Lume, and Lume is really a smart defenseman.
Still 4-2 Vancouver, down to 12.5 left in the third as Babbage is deep in his own end. Looking for Valk, whose clearing effort is held in. Then Sutter was surrounded. And they scramble on the near side. Finally, it comes to center where Conroy shoots it in. Dave Babbage put it to the far corner. Graham on it there, in behind the net for Goulet. Gave it back to Graham. Now Sutter in the corner. Nobody in front of the net for the Hawks. Nowhere for Sutter to go with it. Four players standing still. Brown tried to create something. Now it goes behind to Graham, whose wraparound was stopped. There's Sutter in the near corners, trying to center one. Didn't get to Goulet. Graham picks it up. Cuts in, shoots. Blocked by Babbage. Rebound. Sutter, the shot. McLean made the save. Rebound to Graham on his backhand. The shot is blocked and cleared. Finally center ice. Another goal. Knocked off the moorings.
Great pressure applied by the Blackhawks.
But still, it's a 4-2 Vancouver. Hawks dump it into the Canuck zone. Randy Gregg back. Gave it to Doug Lidster. Long-time Canuck defenseman and a very solid one over the years. Lidster shot it to center. Now running, stepped around. Smith gets the line. Centered it. Sandlak on his backhand. Shoots. And a save by Belfour. And he holds on. That little clip running has just created havoc at the Chicago blue line.
Well, Steve Smith tried to challenge him in the neutral zone. He went to stand him up, and he missed him. Pass over to Sandlak. Sandlak should get more than 6 goals this year playing with Ronning.
Even when Ronning was in St. Louis and used sparingly, as you pointed out earlier, Brian Sutter did like the way he played. A little guy that showed a lot of heart and not afraid of traffic. And he's really done some great things this season with the Canuck team.
Oh, Momesso, Ronnie, Courtnall, and Dirk.
In return for Garth Butcher and Dan Quinn, who's no longer there.
Quinn is in Philadelphia, and Butcher is the captain of the St. Louis Blues. But two factors, I think, that trade and the coaching of Pat Quinn, taking over behind the bench, and the two big factors, that trade and the coaching of the general manager.
Well, he's certainly a no-nonsense guy, isn't he? Here's Linden racing after a loose puck. Lemieux hustled back to cut him off and did a nice job for the Hawks. Now Larmer circling in his own end. Now Linden ran into Belfour as he and Lemieux collided again. The play goes on, and Larmer shoots it in. And now
Lemieux was just elbowed by Linden. Finally, Schick is going to make the call.
Linden to the box. Hawks to the power play. They need to cash in. It's 4-2 Vancouver.
To the Blackhawks zone in a collision with Lemieux and Belfour. As the play went into the neutral zone, he got the elbow up. And now Chelios has been arguing with Schick. I don't know what about. Obviously about position of the faceoff, and Schick has had enough.
Well, the Hawks had their 5 players on the ice, and I believe that Chelios, as an alternate captain, was sent out to talk to Schick, questioning something, maybe the positioning. And why is this a... It's an unsportsmanlike conduct against Chelios. So that takes care of the power play. I mean, I suppose the Hawks would certainly rather lose them for 2 minutes rather than 10, but other situations in this game, it's really just, you don't know what to expect.
You don't know what to say to them. You don't know how to react to certain situations. They're so, you know, they call differently every night. It's like a different ball game. The 2 games that we've seen with Schick, he's called everything. Hawks had 10 power plays against in Edmonton. They've had 11 against here in this period. Sure, Hawks have led the league in penalty minutes the last couple of seasons, and they did it in the playoffs last year. But this game, the first 10 minutes was a great hockey game. End-to-end, hard-hitting, good chances, well played. Then all of a sudden, he got into the act, started calling everything. Misconducts, penalties, unsportsmanlike penalties, all kinds of nonsense, and he ruined the flow of the game.
Keith Brown along, wrist shot. McLean stopped it, rebound to the Canucks. Here comes Courtnall. Jeff Courtnall over the Hawk line, left it along, shot by Adams, goes wide. Rebounding behind the net to Roenick. In the second period in this game. Here's Roenick, flip, the man stuck his leg out right in front of Schick. Good Lord, Rob Schick, just please get an idea here.
Stuck his leg right out in front of him and tripped him.
God. Greg Adams, I mean, that was just blatant. Right in front of Schick. Now the Canucks try to move in. Merzen a long shot, gloved by Belfour. He gave it to Smith. In this game in the second period, the Canucks got a minor penalty. Then after the fact, Dantoski knocked down Peluso. Could have been a 2-man advantage. No, he gave him a 10-minute misconduct, so no other manpower loss for Vancouver. Here, the Canucks get a penalty. The Hawks argue about it. He takes away the power play with a minor penalty call. It's just... Then Roenick, one of the great young stars in the league, nearly had his knee blown out right in front of Schick. I mean, this really is it's a shame, is what it is. Here's Goulet in the corner. He got tackled. Now Sutter in after it. He had it taken off his stick. Here comes Cliff Ronning. Ronning to the Hawk line, left it for Courtnall. Marchment took the legs from under him with a gliding hip check. Now the Hawks the other way. Here's a chance for Graham. Centered it. Sutter shoots. And a save. Rebound. Sutter trying to jam it in. McLean said no. And we're going to have a scrap as Graham gets up. He wants it. Diddick, who flattened him after the fact. Now Goulet just got hammered from behind by Sandlak. And now the Hawks have a man going after Sandlak. And I don't think Schick ever saw that. Goulet was on all fours on the ice, and Sandlak cross-checked him in the back of the head, right in front of the net. Well, I think it was Brown that came in and grabbed Sandlak afterward.
He's lost control of this game, and people are frustrated. They're taking liberties. They don't know when it's going to be a penalty or when it's not going to be a penalty. And you can just point the finger at one man for this mess.
Now Marchment and Merzen are wrestling, but here's another sequence. Brent Sutter trying to stuff it in. McLean did well to hold him off. Then Sutter got driven into the net. Then Graham pushed Merzen from behind, and then Graham got flattened. Then in front of the goal, Goulet was on all fours, and Jim Sandlak just cold-cocked him in the back of the head. Now we have Merzen and Marchment flailing away. Merzen and Marchment slugging at one another, and they both landed a couple, and now they're standing toe-to-toe, and Marchment with a big left hand knocked Merzen to the seat of his pants. And sticks and gloves are all over the ice, and this is a mess because Rob Schick has screwed up what could have been a very good hockey game. So Merzen and Marchment will be sent off. And we mentioned that in that goal mouth scramble a moment ago, Goulet got just suckered from behind with a cross check from Sandlak after the fact.
Well, Merzen leveled Sutter in his attempt to score, and then Graham knocked Merzen down, and then Didick had nothing to do with Graham, and then Sutter squared off, and then Goulet was hit from behind by Sandlak. Sandlak just leveled him when he was down and his back to him, so Brown came in. They wrestled to the ice, and then Marchment and Merzen got into it. And we still have 8 minutes and 41 seconds to go here in a 4-2 Vancouver lead.
The stick of Goulet did come up around Sandlak, and Sandlak just reacted by cross-checking him right in the back of the head. So all sorts of penalties are going to be called here again. Back in the Pacific Coliseum, where still Rob Schick consults with his linesman Lazarowicz and Hire because he's really not sure what the heck's been going on, and he's going to hand out a couple of more penalties, but it's going to take him a while to do it because he's a bit confused, as he's been virtually the entire game.
And now we got a problem behind the Blackhawk bench, and the Blackhawks are pointing out somebody. Instead of going after him, they're pointing out somebody that I don't know what went on, either if they threw something or whatever, but
Keenan and Sutter pointing directly to the people involved, and the security is in the neighborhood, and we'll have some players ejected from the ice and some fans ejected from their seats. It's 4-2 Vancouver.
5 in a game, Sandlak 2 and 5, and Merzen 5 in a game. So there'll be no power play as a result of the altercation. It came after Brent Sutter nearly made it a 4-3 game. Still 8:41 to go here in the third period. Vancouver with a 2-goal lead. They had a 3-goal lead midway through the second period. The Blackhawks made it a 3-2 game, and then a late power play goal by Larionov that deflected in off Chelios made it a 4-2 Vancouver lead, and there's been no scoring here in the third period. And now they still continue to stand around and talk. Schick just...
And now the draw outside the Canuck line. Here's Gerald Didick. Fires it into the Hog zone. Steve Smith back. Now Smith able to clear it to center ice. And it's a 2-line pass. Rod Buskus paired with Smith here. He's been used very sparingly. But called on in this situation. Marchment's gone from the game. Chelios just now coming out of the penalty box.
He spent a lot of time in the penalty box tonight, Chelios. 2 and 10 in the first. High sticking penalty in the second. Penalty here in the third.
Canucks dump it in. Steve Smith is back. Chipping it out to center ice. Now Roenick dumps it in there. Gerald Didick for Vancouver. The ex-Islander Didick hands it away to Chelios, trying to feed Larmer, but the pass behind him. Here's Courtnall the other way. Jeff Courtnall over the Hawk line. Moving in, shoots. Belfour just got a piece of that with the left arm. And Larmer starts it up the near side. Now gets it back. Larmer around Courtnall at center. Steps over the line, trying to beat Lidster. Unable to do it. Into the far corner it goes. Sutter jammed it loose, but Courtnall's there, clearing it to the Chicago line. Chris Chelios circling. Puts it deep into the Canuck zone. Goulet to the far corner, leaves it, and he didn't have anybody behind him, which he thought he did. Sutter had vacated, and here come the Canucks back. However, that rush is broken up, and Doug Lidster turns in his own end. Jocelyn Lemieux to Dirk Graham at center ice. And Hawks unable to penetrate at the moment. Three players overskate the puck as it lays loose at center. And now finally Didick able to get it in behind the Hawk net. Rod Busquets.
Keep going. Back here.
Looks to come out of his own zone. Flipped it to center. Lemieux tried to take a run, and Adams got mostly boards.
And then he got cross-checked from behind by Adams.
Here's Bure. He races over the Hawk line, fires, and a save by Belfour. Rebound in front of the net, and a man's taken down, and the fans scream for a penalty against Adams. And now here's Hudson knocked down, then he slashed Didick back. Hawks are going to get a penalty. That is a penalty. Here's a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 for Vancouver. Cron a shot. Belfour stopped it. Chelios the rebound. And after Didick knocked down Hudson at center, Hudson on the ice just slashed him right in front of Schick. It was a penalty, and it was called, and it's 4-2 Vancouver.
Against the Blackhawks in their last two games. Sure, Schick has not been very sharp and not been helpful, but also the Hawks have been guilty of taking poor penalties besides.
Absolutely. Running in front with Momesso and Bure. And now Momesso dumps it in. Steve Conroy dumped it out. Talking about Bure and the excitement he's created here in Vancouver. The first time he even practiced with this team, they're at a local rink, and a couple of thousand people showed up to watch him practice. The first game Bure played was at home against the Winnipeg Jets. Now he got a high sticking call. Bure did as he high stick Graham, who continues on. Graham behind the net, had it taken away. Momesso captures, and the whistle sounds, and Pavel Bure clearly got his stick up on Dirk Graham, and he was caught by Rob Schick. But just to finish that thought, Bure, first game he played, it was against Winnipeg here at home. There were 6,000 seats unsold before Bure was signed, and the building was sold out the first game he played. So a lot of people think he himself sold 6,000 tickets.
Get the stick up, not once but twice. Once on Conroy, the next time on Dirk Graham. It took two infractions for finally one to be called against them. The Blackhawks in 1 minute and 16 seconds will have a brief power play.
Keep going.
Still a 4-2 Vancouver lead. A lot of time remaining with 5:15 to go. And
four aside now, four skaters aside. Here's the face-off in the Canuck zone. Farmer to the near corner. Got it to Roenick, who had it taken away. Here's Gregg. Shooting it into the Hawk end. A good play by Smith to pick it off. Sending Roenick over the line. Around one check, then Larionov able to knock him down. Chelios' pass stolen by Greg Adams, who's got 2 goals in the game for Vancouver. Now Chelios gave it to Roenick. Trying to wind it up at center. Roenick penetrates the line, then was surrounded. It's held in though by Chelios. His long shot stopped by McLean. Rebound to Gregg. And Randy Gregg. They'll flip it into the Hawk zone as the Canucks head for a change. Chris Chelios gave it to Steve Smith. Bounced it to center. Sutter battles along the boards with Walter. And now Conroy carries on. His pass deflecting. Linden gets knocked down, but here's Walter moving into the Hawk zone. Shoots, and a save by Belfour. The Hawk penalty is over. A 40-second Chicago power play here. Down to 4 minutes left in the third. 4-2 Canucks. Here's Walter clearing it down all the way.
Pat Quinn utilizing some of his veteran players here, realizing the importance of this sequence in the game. Got Gregg out there, Walter out there, veteran defensive players.
And the Hawks unable to get it in. It's cleared to the Hawk line. Out of the net comes Belfour, and then he knocked it away from Volk, but Larionov got to it. He cuts in. Belfour's over on the far board. Now it's centered. Here's Lume trying to move in, and only now does Belfour get back in the net. Great forecheck, great checking by Ed Belfour. Here's a lead. Sutter has a chance. He cuts in shooting. The save rebound. McLean! What a rebound save he made on Roenick. And the Canuck lead remains 2.
Well, Brent Sutter talking to himself. He's had 3 or 4 quality chances. He lets it go, breaking it after the Belfour situation when he came out of the net, flipped out into the zone. Belfour comes out, takes a run at Bach, misses him, then it goes to Larionov. Belfour sweep checks him, then hustles back into the net. Then Lume gets it. Lume reluctant to pull the trigger, waited. And then finally the Blackhawks were able to get it back into the zone. Noonan to Roenick, to Sutter, who breaks in on the off wing, goes to the forehand, shoots. McLean makes the save and then makes an unbelievable save on Roenick's backhand rebound attempt right into the glove.
Both teams are back at full strength, and we're down to 3 minutes left in the third. 4-2 Canucks. And McLean showing his league-leading form, going for his 16th win tonight, which leads the NHL. He's 3 minutes away from it. Larmer cleared it to Chelios. Now Roenick. Jeremy Roenick got it to the line, forced to flip it in. Babbage back for Vancouver. Dave Babbage to Bure on the right side. Long feet right on the money to Adams. Steps over the line. Adams in on Chelios. Shoot! Oh, and a save by Belfour going to his left. Reach back to his right with a good blocker save to prevent the hat trick goal for Adams. Now it's center ice. Gilbert tied up by Momesso and had it poked away. And Larionov has it at center. Down to 2 minutes left. Jocelyn Lemieux on the left wing board. In on Lidster. They wrestle to the corner. And to the side of the net. Here's Gilbert with a backhander trickling in front. McLean, a great save on Conroy. Now Conroy to shot. That's blocked. Here's a lead to Bure. One man to beat is Busquets. Bure over the line, weaving, waiting for help. Now centered it all alone is Gregg. And a save by Belfour to keep the Hawks in the hunt. And some pushing and shoving around the Chicago net. And the officials are there very quickly.
What a play by Bure. He looked like he was going to shoot the puck. Somehow he saw Randy Gregg in unknown territory in front of the net. Let a feeble wrist shot go. But Bure looking to his left. Cut back to the middle of the ice on his forehand. Slipped back to his right to Randy Gregg. And Gregg with the shot. Belfour with the save. After McLean made a terrific save on a backhand attempt from Steve Conroy.
Now Momesso and I think Busquets are heading toward the sin bin. And it appears coincidental penalties will be called here with 1.5 minutes left in the third period. The Blackhawks trying to avoid their 7th straight game on the road without a win. But they need some quick scores here to try to force extra time. Brian Noonan and Jeremy Roenick have scored the Hawk goals for Vancouver. Adams, Courtnall, Adams with 2, Courtnall and Larionov each have 1. Here's the draw to the Canucks. Babbage flipped it in behind the net. Ronning whacked it in front. A shot and a save by Belfour. How did Ronning make that pass with a puck that was knee high? He still got Antosky a chance, but Belfour stopped it. And now the Canucks start back. Sean Antosky at center ice. Tied up on the boards. Then he gave Sutter a rough ride on the far side. Now Chelios goes in. Antosky, and we got another problem. They all wrestle on the far side. When Antosky gave Sutter a big hit, Chelios came across the ice and seemed to have one thing in mind. That was getting in Antosky's face, which he did, and now the linesman trying to pry them apart. Now they continue to wrestle along the boards. Antosky may have been headbutted by Steve Smith as they wrestle along the far side. Well, Sean Antosky, we mentioned, had 330 minutes last year in the International League in penalties to go along with 17 goals. And what a play by Cliff Ronning to whack it out of midair, waist high to Antosky right on the doorstep, and the puck was on edge. He just shot it right into the crest of Belfour's sweater. And meanwhile, now everybody is separated, and Chelios will have a few more minutes added to his penalty minute total for the night, as he and Antosky are led off to their respective dressing rooms. And there's just 67 seconds left on the clock.
Well, Antosky just shoved Sutter along the board, showing
play. They have scored 3 power play goals tonight. Hawks are supposed to have a player in the penalty box, apparently, so that's the delay here.
Keenan, I don't think, wants to send anybody over till the last possible second.
That guy that the minor official that works the penalty box door over there, he's getting a little lonely. He hasn't had anybody for a
couple of minutes anyway.
couple of shifts maybe. All right, here's the draw, and it's taken at center ice by Walter over the line. Ryan Walter looking to center. Belfour steals and clears, and we're in the final minute of this game. Blackhawks are about to fall below the 500 mark and about to be 0-4 on this road trip. Here's Linden breaking for the net. Cuts in there, shoots and more! Trevor Linden turned on the Jets on right wing as he cut in. He stuffed the backhander past Belfour. The 4th power play goal of the game for Vancouver, and it's 5-2.
4 for 13, Vancouver with the power play. Trevor Linden, what a great move on his part. Babbage right on the money. Conroy hacks him, does everything he can. He lowers the boom on him, and yet Linden, unaffected by it, just walked in, went to the backhand, and muscled it in. 3-point night for Trevor Linden. Goal and 2 assists. Or a goal and 3 assists, I should say. 4-point night for Trevor Linden. The power play goal with 37 seconds left to go. In a 5-2 Vancouver lead.
So here's the draw. The Hawks dump it in. Dave Babbage gets the only assist on Linden's goal at 19:23. Shot back of the Hawk net now, taken by Graham. Gave it to Lemieux.
play.
He dumps it in there.
At 19-22.
And Lume gave it to Linden. Trevor Linden dragging the puck as the clock winds down, and this game is over. Vancouver Canucks around Kirk McLean, who captures his league-leading 16th win of the year against just 5 losses and 3 ties is his record. And Vancouver maintaining their lead in the Smythe division. They are now 16, 7, and 3 with a total of 35 points. In the third period, just 1 goal was scored that moments ago by Trevor Linden on a Canuck power play. Their 4th PP goal of the night from Dave Babbage at 19:23 to finish off the scoring. 15-13. The Canucks outshot the Blackhawks in the game. 36 total shots for Chicago, 35 for Vancouver. Hawks are on the trip, winless in 7 straight on the road, and they're now 1 game below 500. The Vancouver Canucks beat the Blackhawks 4-2. Our next Hawk game on Sports Channel Sunday at 7 when the Hawks take on Winnipeg. Live at 7 on Sports Channel 650 on WBBM. For Dale Talon, Pat Foley hoping you enjoyed the broadcast in spite of the outcome, which was 5-2 Vancouver. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of Sports Channel.